Welcome to Between Over and Next with your hosts, Holli and Robert, a happily married couple who explore the space between what was, what is, and what's to come. From career changes to navigating life's uncertainties, this dynamic duo will empower you to live your happiest life at every age and stage. So, get ready because your journey with Holli and Robert starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Between Over and Next. Hi, Holli.
Hi, Robert. I'm going to start off this episode by saying a very big I love you.
To who?
To you.
Oh, to me.
My partner in crime.
Thank you.
My podcast partner.
You know I'm quite
my life
fond
partner.
of you.
My parenting partner. What?
I said, you know I'm quite fond of you.
Now, fondness is an important part of love and affection and intimacy. Fondness could be the foundation of what could be in one's love life.
I guess. Well, I always think of it in terms of the saying that absence makes the heart grow fonder.
So what does that mean to you?
Well, that statement says that when you're separated from the one that you're passionate about, that passion grows stronger.
I am wearing a sweater today that is full of hearts. So if you go to YouTube, you'll see my sweater full of hearts. I love hearts. Lindsay made it for me when she was in college, this fabulous heart ring. I love hearts, and I love love. And from the thrill of young love to the contentment of decades-long companionship, like we have, baby, relationships evolve, love evolves, and the passion and excitement of the early stages sometimes bring some butterflies and exhilaration. But as time goes by, these transform into deeper intimacy and commitment. And that's something I'm really grateful that we have.
I think what we have, most importantly, is like.
Like is an important factor. And understanding what you like and what you do not like is just as important. And like is the beginning. It is the sparks. It's the seeds of what could become a long-lasting, deep love, a strong love, a special love like Robert and I have, and something we're going to talk to you about today, because understanding the transition from young love and embracing every phase along the way.
Are we referring to new love or young love?
How would you describe young?
Well, young love is like your first girlfriend or boyfriend.
So talk about young love.
Is that
So
love? That's more like adolescent lust.
Okay, you're talking about attraction and infatuation.
I know that girls were important to me starting in kindergarten. I think I remember my first date ever with anyone was in the 3rd grade.
When I was in elementary school, when I was living in Brooklyn, I think his name was Larry. I think it was 5th grade. And he had a crush on me, the word crush. So we're talking about young love, and that was one experience. And then in 6th grade, there was another little boy, I would say, right, a 6th grader that kind of liked me. And then I had my high school love, and I would say that's my first love. But that would be young love. So talk about young, new, like factor.
When you're young, obviously, a lot is dictated by your age, right? You're living at home, so your time with the one who you're hot for is, at that age, is probably dictated by your parents, right? You can't spend all your time with your junior high school girlfriend or your high school boyfriend. Your parents will put a stop to that, and then you'll sneak out and be with them. But it's not until you get to college that you can start to have an adult type relationship where you may spend the night And you don't have to answer to anybody.
Now you're talking about growing up and being a little more independent and away from home.
Make your own decision.
And a lot of people did meet their
not
special
answering.
someone in college.
Right. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, like your sister and friends of mine, they're married for decades like
Maybe,
us.
or maybe just explored being with other people. They may have lost their virginity in college.
When did you lose your virginity?
Fourth grade.
I don't know if Robert really wants to share this information. I was in college. I was also engaged before you one time, as you were engaged to someone else.
Right.
Before you engaged to me.
Mm-hmm.
So many different feelings when I reflect on those experiences. Being in love in high school and thinking about that now, it's just like such different dreams and desires and beliefs and values and hopes.
But,
it shapes who we are. Those loves shaped who we are and what we want and don't want.
It's different getting into a serious relationship when you're 20 versus getting into a serious relationship when you're 30. You're ready for different things. We know people who got married in their 20s and had children right away. So were young parents. Our parents were in their 20s, late teens, and early 20s. Your mother was 19, right?
Yeah, my father was 20.
20, right.
And they're married.
And they started a family right away.
62 years.
We know other people that have been together for many years as a couple and decide to have children, right? Spend a lot of time as a two-person unit before they become a multi-unit with children, right? If they decide to do that even. All of those decisions affect the rest of your life with the assumption that you're going to stay together. Is that love different at 20 than it is at 30? I think everything is different from when you're 20 to when you're 30. What's really the same? Your shoe size? You know what I mean? Everything changes all the time. So, like anything else, your maturity level, because you can be mature the way you act, the way you think, but the maturity that comes from living through 10 years of life can't be replaced by anything other than living that. You're a different person at 20 than you are at 30, as well you should be.
And what also evolves are your desires, your thoughts, your feelings, and your experiences.
Yes. I think people have a certain type. We know people that have dated a number of people, and they're all kind of clones of one another. I guess that makes sense if you have a certain attraction. And then others you've seen have been in relationships with lots of different physical and personality types, outgoing or quiet or taller or shorter, things like that. Sometimes you can't control what you're attracted to or who you're attracted to, right? As much as you may go out seeking someone if you're single, dating apps, hook up, going to singles events, where you're specifically put into situations of, we know people are in this club because they're all single and they all want to meet. It's not just random people that are just out. Everyone's in the room for a purpose. So the whole vibe is different, and you're looking for that match, that single scene. Different at 20 than it is at 30.
Yes, and having been engaged in my early 20s, I knew nothing about that person to want to continue the rest of my life with that person. Like, it's such a weird thing to think about now.
If you had gone through with that wedding and you stayed married, your relationship with that person would develop and change over time. And I think a lot of people, when you think about the divorce rate being so high in this country, and we talked about that in a previous episode when we had Sal on, the divorce attorney, 50%, give or take, of all relationships split up. But we all know that not every bad relationship ends in divorce, which means a whole lot more people are miserable in their relationships that kind of stick it out and stay with that person.
I'd like to focus on
So-
a strong, long, lasting relationship.
Because when young love, you focus on that, that thing that makes your heart beat faster, right? That passion. Now, that passion should never go away, but let's face it, that passion is not what drives a relationship 24/7. That passion has its moments throughout the day, the week, the month, whatever it is, but the rest of the time, you're just with that person doing the everyday things that you do. If that part doesn't develop past that immediate newness, that passion of like, I can't wait to see that person. Oh my God, that's all I'm thinking about. I'm speaking to him 5 times a day and we're texting all the time. You got to be able to look over at that person on the other end of the couch or next to you on the couch or across the room or sitting at the table eating. Breakfast especially, when you roll out of bed and you're not looking your best. And if you're not into that person at that moment, because that's most of the moments, the regular stuff, the everyday. If you're not having a good time in those moments, that's when the problem is, because that's when you're going to be spending most of your time. And being happy in those moments, I think, is far more important than the passion, because the passion will come from liking that person all the time, I think.
And we focus on the positive characteristics of one another. What do you like most about me?
Well, how quiet and demure you are and how you listen to me all the time.
I love when he's flip.
What do I like about you?
Yeah, we were talking about like.
Well, I like how you look.
I like how you look.
And I like your brain.
I like your brain too. It's really a head and heart thing. There's such a beautiful connection when you are with the right person and in the right relationship.
I believe that a lot of people are challenged at finding the right person. And I know this kind of sounds cliche, and like anyone who's out there searching was going to tell me, shut up. You can't try too hard to meet someone. Because when you try too hard, what happens is you don't leave enough room for the universe to work what it needs to do. You're trying so hard that you don't let what's supposed to happen. And I know for some people, they don't buy into that, like meant to be kind of thing. I think that people want it so bad, want that special someone so bad, that they may overlook opportunities because they're trying so hard.
I think that embracing vulnerability is a very important component of relationship, and something I am so comfortable doing with you is sharing my fears, my hopes, my dreams. I believe our love and all strong loves thrive on understanding and trust and a shared commitment to nurture the connection. The common thread through every stage of a relationship is communication, respect, and the willingness to grow. Together and individually, they are both important. And I know we have grown individually and collectively through the decades based on what our experiences were prior to meeting one another. I do believe that every love story is unique, and I don't think couples should compare. I definitely think you can learn from past experiences or figure out that like and not like and let it come into focus a little sooner so you don't waste any time, because you deserve being with someone who appreciates you. I appreciate you. I am grateful for you. And this discussion, I really do believe, will resonate with listeners at every age and stage of their relationship journey, because whether you're experiencing new love, no matter what age you are, once you're over that, and then all of the what's next moments through every phase throughout love in your relationship. I believe a marriage like ours has been successful for 30 plus years, most importantly because of communication.
Yes.
We're open, we're honest, we're compassionate, we're thoughtful. It's important to say to your partner, what do you want to hear? What do you want to say? It's really, really important to listen to each other and engage in discussions that foster closeness. You continually need to ask yourself what matters and to discuss it with your partner at every step of the way.
I agree. Not everything in your head should come out and be shared, but you can't expect that someone can read your mind. I think if something's up, you need to say it, because if you don't say it and you are assuming that someone knows what's going on, they may not. And unless you know for sure that they're really ignoring your needs instead of they didn't know, why wouldn't you express what it is that you want?
And just because you're together for so long in a situation like ours, you can't expect to think that that partner not only can't read your mind, but necessarily knows everything about you. You got to keep asking questions and engaging in deep conversations to kind of discover and rediscover.
Yeah, because I think what tends to happen is there starts to be a breakdown in communication within a couple when it could be attributed to many things. Raising kids takes a lot of energy and a lot of emotional energy. And if a marriage, if a relationship is not strong at that point, when a child enters the picture, quite often that attention that was getting paid to your partner is now getting paid to a child. Suddenly there's a sense of neglect. Like, oh my gosh, the baby gets all the love and attention and you're too tired for me.
Well, parenting is a phase, and we talked about that on our last episode.
But you have to be aware. You have to keep in mind of what you don't want to completely lose what it is that kind of brought you together to start with. So couples have to work at that, making that happen.
It'll always come back to communication, but you also need to let go of some grudges. It's very important to practice forgiveness.
Well, we're all guilty of stuff. Nobody's perfect. You want that same respect. If you screw up, you want to be let off the hook and say, okay, I'm not going to do that again, or I'm going to try harder next time, or I didn't realize. If you don't give an opportunity to make it right.
Sometimes you have differences and there are shortcomings and there are things that you just bothered about. That's natural to be bothered about things.
That's why places like Trader Joe's have $5.99 bouquets of flowers.
I love when I buy me flowers at Trader Joe's because it's important to treat yourself. But when Robert comes home with a bouquet, because he knows how much I love flowers. So Trader Joe's is smart. The cards, the flowers,
But I
the
used to
box
do
of
that.
chocolate.
But I used to do that, if you remember,
You always
from the wedding days.
Yeah, well,
whenever I would shoot in Manhattan, I had this one spot. I think it was 49th and 9th or 10th, and it would be on my way to the tunnel to come back home, and it was one of the many bodegas in Manhattan, and they would have, I think it was 2 dozen roses for under $20. I think it was like $12 or $15 back then, and I would stop all the time.
And my
to pick
favorite
up.
part really was waking up in the morning, and he actually found
Well,
the
it was
vase.
such a pain in the ass to have to cut the stems on 24 roses at 3:00 in the morning after shooting. And here it is. I'm in the kitchen cutting the roses so they would be in the vase.
Well, that's love. So with a 30-plus year marriage like ours, and we are friends. Robert's my best friend. I love my parents. Parental love is so different. And I love my friends and I love my children a lot. I love being a mother, but I love being Robert's wife. I do, his first wife.
I'm an amazing human. How
Okay.
could you know?
But it's also important to keep the spark alive. I wanted to share a few fun and engaging ideas to help you keep your romance alive, to strengthen your bond, and to create lasting memories together. So I'm just going to read a quick list to everybody because I think they're all fun ideas. And I always want you to find value in our Between Over and Next episodes and inspire you to have fun.
Fun is the first and foremost.
Right?
Yes, have fun.
Have fun. So a wine and paint night, a cooking class, an outdoor adventure, whether it be hiking or rock climbing for an adrenaline rush.
Which can be done indoors as well.
That's true, an indoor or outdoor adventure. A game night, which we love. A brewery or winery, which we love. Dance lessons we haven't taken up, but who knows? Maybe we will.
Not much of a dancer.
Well, I think it could be fun to do together. I think it'd actually be a good laugh. Going to an art gallery or museum, a spa day. We love reflexology, a picnic in the park, or even a movie marathon or binging a TV series. We just started something new on Netflix. I love it. It's actually about a podcast.
Kristen Bell.
Yeah, it's really good. And a rabbi. Kristen Bell and a rabbi. What's fun about that is snuggling up together, which we do, and saying, let's enjoy this until we fall asleep. Sex can be a sensitive topic, but it's a very important part of intimacy. Actually, it's an important component.
I'm raising my hand.
People think when you get older that it's not important.
Have
It
we
is.
cut back?
It is. It comes in so many forms, sex, from cuddling and kissing to holding hands and hugging to obviously more explicit acts. But you got to continue to explore what's comfortable and enjoyable with your partner. It's important to express your love and your desire and your trust. And it comes back to communication, right? What are your needs?
Faster, harder, slower.
Your needs, your preferences, and your concerns.
Well, you have to articulate. Not so hard. Stop squeezing so hard. Whatever the communication needs to be. That's communication, isn't it?
Yeah. So
faster, slower, louder, softer.
I have actually a few things in my head right now that I'm not going to share. Our kids, it kind of ekes them out, the fact that we actually have sex, and we have sex a lot. Congratulations to all the newly engaged couples out there.
We're coming up on engagement season, Holly.
Yeah, it's always engagement.
Proposal season.
Yeah, it's true. The holidays.
Right. Between most
Thanksgiving and
proposals
Valentine's,
between
right?
Thanksgiving and Valentine's.
So these are a few tips for you newly engaged couples, because we think we've gotten it right. Make time for romance. You have to prioritize those date nights, like I shared earlier. That's for everybody at every age and stage, right? It's about quality time together.
Because it becomes a challenge. I'm just thinking about someone in my family who couldn't even get like 2 dates in a row with this person because they had to work so much. And I'm thinking an excuse or whatever, like they dedicate so much time to work.
You need to find time. This isn't only newly engaged couples. It's only for newlyweds. New connections and partnerships when it comes to love. So importantly, stay curious about each other. Continue to ask questions, explore each other's personalities. In our Myers-Briggs episode,
Yeah.
we have a great promo for you. I will include it in this episode's show notes and a link to that episode with Michael Segovia. It is excellent. It is a very good thing to do at every age and stage. Importantly, cultivate patience and understanding. Robert has definitely done that with me because there are always going to be bumps along the way.
Yes.
And do not take everything too seriously.
I think that's the number one rule of life. Don't take everything too seriously.
So I'm going to wrap this all together, old and new, between over and next. Love and new relationships could happen at any time for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been watching The Golden Bachelorette because my friends have been watching it. And even though I started watching The Bachelor years ago, I stopped for a long time. And then my friends were watching The Golden Bachelor, and I was like, oh, I'll just fast forward through it and let's see what's going on. But what was fascinating is The Golden Bachelor and The Golden Bachelorette are focused on individuals our age.
Yes.
And they're looking for love.
Again.
Again. And later in life. So I was thinking about that as I'm watching this series. There were so many beautiful, good people all across this country and world that are seeking love. And it sounds so simple. But the thing is, if you think about everything we discussed in this episode, there is someone else out there also looking for love. So it is important to acknowledge that love evolves. Sometimes there are those whirlwind romances, and then there are those that are like, we're going to stick to it until we are no longer here. This is for us forever.
Right. Well, as long as things are good. I mean,
Well, no, you're stuck with me. I'm telling you that right now, okay?
Well,
it's really important to embrace self-love first. And as I'm watching this, I'm thinking that this Golden Bachelorette in the promo is talking about being invisible. Nobody's invisible. You all have something special about yourself. You all have worth. You all have something to bring to a relationship. You must love yourself first to set the foundation for a healthy connection. It is so important. Continue to communicate your desires. Be clear about what matters, what doesn't, your beliefs, your values, what you want in a companion, what you want to share, your families, because you're going to be blending families later in life very often.
yeah.
So that is a whole other dynamic that you'll have to respect and understand, but that is something that's going to happen, and your children are rooting you on. They want you to be happy, or so we hope, right? Accept differences in lifestyles. Be open to it, because people do get stuck in their ways, their habits. Prioritize that emotional intimacy. That emotional connection becomes a pillar of love later in life. Share your thoughts, your fears, your dreams, your wisdom to build a deep emotional bond. Have fun and embrace new experiences. And approach all of your relationships with confidence and openness. I believe that long, strong, deep love is in your future, if that's what you want. I know I want it. Forever and ever with Robert.
Not forever.
Forever.
Forever and ever?
And ever.
Boy, that's a long time.
Love is such an important thing. The Beatles said it best. All you need is love.
Right. We believe that. We even wrote it on our wall.
We did. I'll share that photo with you guys too. Really appreciate you tuning in today.
Yes. Let's go celebrate our love now. Want to do that?
It's time for a meeting.
Promises, promises.
Oh, I promise.
Okay.
In sickness and in health.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay. Well, thanks, Holly, for being my partner on this podcast. And everything else. Everything else. You're my partner. Which I'm okay with.
I'm okay too.
Good. I'm glad. So thank you all for tuning in to Between Over and Next. We really do appreciate you being here. And we will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to Between Over and Next. We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it meaningful and insightful.
If you value it to be worthwhile, please share it with your friends and family.
We would really appreciate it if you could take a moment to write a review for us. Your feedback will help us continue to create content that resonates with you.
And don't forget, In the show notes, you can find all the relevant links mentioned in this episode, from accessing free downloads to visiting our website and more.
If you have any questions or comments, we would love to hear from you. Simply send us an email. Our email address is hello@hollyandrobert.com. We're always excited to connect with our listeners.
So until next time, thank you again for joining us on Between Over and Next.
Thank you for listening to Between Over and Next, the podcast that navigates the twists and turns of life with courage, laughter, and a whole lot of inspiration. Tune in every Tuesday to hang out with Holli and Robert on your favorite podcast platform. Visit hollyandrobert.com and follow them on social media to ignite your passion and fuel your dreams.